It says you win a physical treasure chest filled with gold coins and a crystal skull. Total value of the prize is estimated to be $500,000.
Yeah,
So
gold
if you're
coins.
winning this thing, you're getting a pirate chest. They're claiming you are.
Well, and the way things are going, that 500 could be like 700 by November.
Hello and welcome to the Thinking Tech podcast. I'm one of the co-hosts, Dylan, and I'm here with my co-host Baz.
Yay.
And this is a podcast about two guys that work and love tech, and we talk about tech. So, welcome. We have a great show today. Before we get started, if those watching would be kind enough to hit the like button down below. We have a ton of fun doing this podcast, and we really want to grow as much as possible. Those like counts go a huge way of helping us find an audience. And if you like what you're listening to today, feel free to click on the subscribe button so you don't miss out on more great future episodes. So, today we're going to start off. We talked a little bit about last week about the upcoming Hack-a-thon that happened in our area around here in Sarasota. I wasn't able to make it, but Baz, I understand you were able to make it, and you were able to
I
check it out some?
I did, yeah, actually. So the premise here is it was an event kind of put on by an outfit called Bridge Angel Investors, which is a local angel kind of venture capital company, or organization, I should say. And they have expressed a lot of interest in AI related projects. Of course, that's extremely broad and vague,
Yeah.
right? They just know that like they need some kind of they want to get involved in some AI stuff, right? And I've heard a lot of that talk. All of the networking events I've gone to, the buzz, honestly, the last 2 years solid has just been AI, AI, AI. So the the thing that's missing though has been clear applications, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
here's an obvious idea that'll make us $1 billion. That's what everybody's looking for, and that's what nobody's really found yet.
Yeah, I know they had that little pin that came out, almost like the Star Trek pin that came out a year or two ago. I don't know if you remember
Okay,
that one.
I
It was
don't.
made by one of the known tech companies, not one of the big ones, but it was like a pin with AI, but it didn't really do anything. It just fizzled away. It was kind of a joke kind of thing.
Okay,
I'll have to put in the description what that was because I'm blanking what it was called, but it's exactly what you're saying. Like, what's the applications that the real
mm-hmm.
applications, right? I'm trying to
Right.
find one.
So their idea here is there's another outfit that's also working on a similar building a similar ecosystem, which is essentially I'd call it like what do they call them, incubators,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where they get people in kind of to share a space and hopefully breed ideas just by having smart people you know in a space together. And so I think that was the premise here. Um, there were, I think, maybe four different teams of people who signed up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were mostly young people. I'd met some of them before at various events, um, including a guy named Ryan, who I keep bumping into, and I finally remember his name. I for the first few months, like I knew him, I would constantly get his name and your name confused. So apologies in retrospect.
I
If
don't think you've
I
ever called me Ryan, so that's okay. You might maybe you
okay,
called him Dylan before an accident.
I think I did actually, but and I
Whoops.
definitely called him Dylan a few times. So my apologies to you both on that. Anyway, so mostly young people. There were some, still in college. Um, a few older, not my advanced, decrepitude, but uh, um, a good range. A lot of different backgrounds. Some people in art, some people in computer science,
Interesting.
some people in business. But it was basically a whole bunch of people came together. Um, I think there were some team structure that had come walked into it. Uh, I think there were some ideas that were formulated there on the first night, and
Hmm.
so a number of the teams had multiple projects.
Okay, because it was a weekend long event. You said for the first night. It was like a 3 day long like
That's
thing,
right.
right?
Yeah, they it was like a original meetup on a Friday evening, and then all day Saturday and all day Sunday. Now I only went Saturday evening, which was when they invited it, the public, opened it to the public.
Hmm.
So each night was open to the public, and I did not go Sunday. I had other commitments, and I did not go Friday because I was tired.
Yeah,
But
same.
uh, but we got a good, sort of like I think the Saturday evening in the middle of it was good. We got a
Hmm.
um, they had time to kind of work on their pitches, and so we got stuff that sounded, for the most part, reasonable. There were a few ideas we heard that were like, nah, I don't know about that, but
So were they like pitching to you as an audience, or did you just was
no,
there like
they
a
were
panel of judges
no. So
sort of
that
thing?
that would have been more like I think on Sunday. So
Okay.
they were going to give an award out on the best idea, I guess.
Hmm.
And I don't know the process by which they were going to choose that, but we were just there, kind of as public showing up to observe, um, and hear, what these guys were up to, and gals. I use guys generically. I hope no one's offended.
I think that
Uh,
yeah, I think that's still okay to do. I think
okay, great,
yeah.
guys. Uh,
I don't know, I'm gonna be called out. Who knows? Okay, but moving on.
that's okay. We could use
It's true.
some. So yeah. Sorry. So anyway, one of the ideas was there was a team working on automating the process of starting a new business. Um, for those of you who have started a business before, you kind of know what's involved. But uh, for those who haven't, there's just a lot of tedious like steps. Like you got to do the business filing. To do that, you need a registered
Hmm.
agent. To do that, you might need a law firm or a company that specializes in that. You need a mailing address in that state. Like I did a corporate filing in Wyoming, but I have to have a local Wyoming registered agent. I have to have a mailing address there. There's all this nonsense. Um, Not to mention, then you need a bank account, and it's
Hmm.
just a lot of stuff, right, to get a business going. Even completely aside from actually having an idea and executing on it. So their idea was to kind of streamline and hopefully automate um, some of that stuff, including it sounded like using AI to automatically create pitch decks to help in raising financing, um, some of that. So every one of these had, some sort of AI tie-in, like I was alluding to. AI is what the investors want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting. There was a demo. There was a computer vision demo which was using AI running locally on a laptop. And when I
Hmm.
say AI, right, I don't just mean LLM necessarily or chatbot. AI goes back 60 years and is a lot of different fields. And computer vision is one long-standing one, basically trying to teach computers how to see and interpret what they see. So
Right.
this demo was the guy um, would just move his hand in front of his screen. The camera was watching his hand, and he was then manipulating virtual Legos and like stacking up virtual Legos on the computer screen.
That's pretty
Uh,
cool. So a little bit of
yeah.
that was that AR, AI and AR. I'm trying to remember what AR stands for. Augmented reality, I think.
Um, yeah, I guess it could fit into that category, right? As well as, the computer's just watching you. I guess
Hmm.
now the was it the Wii? The Nintendo Wii
Yeah,
had this controller that it could watch, but did you have to hold a thing for that?
yeah.
Like it
You held
followed
this
the thing that
this
you were
the
holding?
Wiimote, which is a Wii controller, and you like synced
Yeah.
it up with the sensor bar, and you interacted with it that way.
Okay, so it could track that, not
Yeah,
necessarily your hand.
but it
It
wasn't.
happened to be in your
I,
hand, but
yeah, I think the Xbox had their own version, which was just like your hands and stuff.
okay.
Yeah. So,
Uh, well, this was really sophisticated, and
mhm.
I was actually pretty impressed by it. So let's see. There's that another group. Oh yeah, there was a group working on um, building tools, leveraging big data for simplifying real estate valuation, which is uh, I've dabbled in real estate,
Mhm.
and it's basically voodoo. Don't let anybody ever try to tell you that real estate is some kind of science. It's all feelings.
I've gotten that impression just from like buying houses and trying to sell houses. You get an
Yeah.
idea what you think a house is valued, and then but you have like the person's actually job it is to come up with a number. And sometimes they're like, well, we look
Hmm.
at these three houses in the neighborhood, so we're gonna say this number.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what's
It's
that backed up by?
well, three transactions. The most recent one was 6 months ago, and the market
Hmm.
completely changed in 1 month.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
but anyways, so doing that kind of thing at scale and being able to take and like in what I've been looking at, it's like, oh, okay, so here's a $500,000 house. It's only 1,000 square feet, but it's a half mile from the beach,
Hmm.
versus 500,000 might get you, 3 times as big a house, 5 miles from the beach. Uh, and so it can be hard to pick that out, just reading listings, like what's the land worth versus what's the structure worth, and helping to find good deals, like what's a good deal in
Yeah.
real estate, right? You got to like live it and breathe it every single day to get to learn that. But if we had some computer tools and like AI that could strip away the fluff from ridiculously written descriptions of properties that realtors are now using AI to write,
Yeah.
uh,
I
that
think I
that
bought
could be
my
very
house right
helpful.
before the AI ever, realtors started using AI. So
Yeah. Oh, they're also using AI to furnish houses, right, for photos.
yeah.
So it's
Oh
empty, but
yeah.
they'll put fabulous furniture into it.
But you'll
And
see a door on a ceiling. I'm like, I wonder where that goes to.
I think there's actually been some complaints that sometimes the AI like makes the house structure look better than it really is,
Hmm.
while it's adding the furniture.
Yep.
So that
Still in
that's a whole other thing.
a little bit in the wild west of that, but that idea sounds very interesting. I like that one.
Yeah.
Um,
And they were just, it was cool, right? Like, and of course, if you're one of those groups, your hope, right, is that you get picked to be the Dev Lord. That was the prize. You get
is
the
that what they actually they
they
call
call it.
it, the
Yeah, you
Dev
would be the
Lord?
Dev
Okay.
Lord.
Yeah. You brought like
Uh,
a lightsaber and like a cape.
get some. There might have been some sort of like like miniature statue, or something like that. Um, but and maybe a chance at doing a pitch and getting some funding, right, for your
Yeah, I
idea.
imagine that's the real prize is that, you get, some more FaceTime with the money people and they might actually turn your idea into like a real product, which would be, that'd be a cool prize.
Absolutely. Though being able to just put Dev Lord on my business card, like
You can
that's worth
put
something
on your
too.
resume. Yeah,
Yeah.
official Dev Lord. Earned and prized. Cool. Did
The
you
mhm.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead and ask me your question.
I was gonna say, did you hear who the winner was, or did they like pick a winner last weekend,
No,
or
I did not get that news. I'm sorry to disappoint.
we'll have to
But
look at that. They
yeah,
gave me
we looked
like,
that up.
do you know what the website is?
Yeah, it
It was the
was
Shipyard, right?
Shipyard. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which I
So
didn't know if that was like the name of the place or is at an actual shipyard somewhere, and that's where they're telling people to go.
no, the event was held at the building that the Angel Group
Mm,
is officed in,
that makes sense.
called Church Walls, which apparently was, before it got fixed up and kind of rebuilt. It was literally just the shell, like the outer walls of this
Hmm.
old church in. downtown. So hence the name. So anyway, yeah, you should all go check out Sarasota Shipyard competition and see what happened. Now, the organizers did say that they hope to do this monthly.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Yeah, that's pretty frequently. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
and so get your pencil sharpened. Fly on down to Sarasota, and come work on your idea in front of people who are interested and care.
That'd be cool. And I definitely need to check out the next one. I always regret when I miss those things. Especially when there's like it's all weekend long. I should have made it over there. But it sounds like I'll be able to, we'll have another one coming up pretty soon, which would be cool.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah. Awesome. Well, that's cool, especially for, I feel like we say this all the time, but Sarasota's getting so much cool. Like, there's a little bit of a tech scene here. And growing up, I grew up in Sarasota, and there's, it was a pretty sleepy town for a while. So, cool, we got some fun tech stuff going on here.
Right. Well,
Um,
I got here 2.5 years ago, and I think that's when it, started to change.
well, yeah, you brought it along with you. Well, thank you, Baz, for bringing the tech scene with you. Alrighty, so that's what's going on here at the hackathon. We'll jump into a little bit of some of the latest news that's been going on. One that caught my eye that I thought would be a fun one to talk about was with the new Assassin's Creed game that's coming out. For anyone who doesn't know, Assassin's Creed is a pretty long running game series now. I think it started on like the Xbox 360, maybe like 20 years ago now. But they're coming out with a kind of like a remake, ground up remake of like the most famous, most popular game they had, which was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And if you can tell by the name, it was a pirate themed Assassin's Creed. So it's kind of easy to see why that was the most popular one. And that's actually when I played when it came out, and I had a blast with it. But to do a little promotion for this new game, the developers, the publisher, which I'm pretty sure is Ubisoft, they're having a real life treasure hunt competition. Called the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced Real Life Treasure Hunt. So they're selling. There's like a buy-in. I think it's so you can buy a digital version of like kind of like the how should I put it, like the box to do the treasure hunt. They have a digital version for about £35, which is somewhere around $35 give or take, and then they have an actual like you can spend $200 if you want, and you can have like basically a whole care package sent to you with like real paper maps and guides. It looks like there's a bottle of something that might be
Is that
rum in
real
there.
rum?
That's
For
what
two
I was
for
gonna
two
say.
hundred pounds, that should be real rum.
I hope it's real rum for £200. Yeah, but it's such a cool idea. It's like I feel like we don't see this kind of marketing anymore. This felt like something that kind of happened on the '90s, maybe. They do
Yeah.
like treasure hunts and just
So there was I have a vague memory that there was Nintendo. It was like Nintendo related. Uh, like people were doing it on their phones.
hmm
Augmented reality. And like you're looking for um, the golly the things that Cartman wanted to collect. Sorry, do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
was it was it like
But
Mario coins or Star
no,
or is
is
it
it
Pokemon?
Pokemon?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. So it was like a comeback of that, right? And so you would like go to these places and you would scan the area with your phone, and like if there might be the object
Yeah.
there.
Is that Pokemon
Right.
Go you're talking about?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that is, yeah, that's kind of similar. Like get people out in the real world and try and make them solve puzzles or get
Yeah.
together to do
So
something.
is that the idea with this, that like you take this stuff out in the world and actually solve clues in the world, or are you
I
sitting
think
at your
that's
desk?
similar. Yeah, because it seems like there's a digital interface you use for it, and the hunt is supposed to come like 15 riddles. It says. And
Okay.
let's see, which players have to solve to find the location of the treasure chest buried in the Caribbean. Apparently, I was trying to decipher, is there a real treasure chest they drop somewhere in the Caribbean and they want people to go on their boats and find the location, or is it just like on a map screen you press it like is that Geo Finder game when you're like, what part of the map am I on? You just kind of like
Uh-huh.
drop the
Uh-huh.
pin on the map. I assume it's a digital thing. But it's like solve the riddles. I'm sure it's all done from your phone. I'm sure no one's really going to the Caribbean,
So
but that
there
would be
was a
cool.
60s movie called
I think I
It's
know what
a
you're talking about.
Mad Mad
Yep,
Mad Mad World.
classic.
I think I
Yep,
forgot a few Mad Mads, but
it's
it is
four of them.
basically that idea. Yeah, it's a Mad 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 Mad
It's
World.
it's it's a mad, 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 mad world. Yep,
Yeah, yeah, okay. It is amazing, right? Like it's just so much fun and
yep.
frenetic, and it's packed with every like movie star of the
Yeah, at the
1960s is in
time,
this
yeah,
movie.
all star
Sometimes just for like two
comedians.
minutes or whatever, but it's and they're all like solving riddles to find the treasure.
That's exactly what I thought about when I first read this, and just picture the modern version of that.
Yeah, like that would be awesome. And
Hmm.
think about the news value of that. Like people,
Right?
like teams of people descending on, say, you know, uh, Saint Kitts or Miami or something,
Yep.
looking for clues. That would be
And in the
great.
world of like social media now, and everybody's just recording everything, everyone's putting YouTube, and you can just watch on all these different YouTube channels and perspectives of them
Right.
running around like chickens with their
That's
heads off,
amazing.
trying to find this treasure.
Now, we
Unfortunately,
don't know that that's actually what's happening here,
I don't
apparently,
think it
but
is as much as I wish it was. I think
yeah.
it's just gonna be uh, drop the pin on the map, but it
Well,
got my imagination going.
we know what we need to knuckle down and get working on.
Yeah, let's start it.
Let's do it.
Even if it is a digital interface, if I discover where that treasure is on that map, I'm a little curious to wonder what happens if you go to that location. Will they have the treasure chest there? Because I feel like they're gonna do some kind of video of them they gotta like pull it out of the sand, the ground, or something. So
You would
like, why not
think.
just beat them to it and be the one that pulls it out of the sand?
Okay, so it says the hunt starts November 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Buy a pack from Unsolved Hunts. The hunt
So
is 15 riddles.
maybe they'll like send it to you on the ninth, or like that's when like the part of the app will open on the ninth.
Probably. Because
The
they want to
first
get it in people's hands and then everybody can turn it on.
at the same time, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it says the first person to correctly find the chest. So it says find the chest wins a physical treasure chest. So I don't.
Right.
Yeah, I think find the
Well,
chest.
I wouldn't bury the actual 500,000 somewhere,
I
but maybe there's an empty chest, right?
you find the empty chest and you gotta trade it in with the real chest because it says you win a physical treasure chest filled with gold coins and a crystal skull. Total value of the prize is estimated to be $500,000.
Yeah,
So
gold
if you're
coins.
winning this thing, you're getting a pirate chest. Or they're claiming you are.
Well, and the way things are going, that 500 could be like 700 by November.
It's yeah, in a few months. And treasure hunt packs range okay, so I was talking about the packs you get to actually find the stuff. So,
I'm going to have to do this because it just sounds like
for
fun.
35 bucks,
And,
yeah, oh,
we're kind of already down in this neck of the woods. So if it doesn't involve any travel, I think we got a leg up.
yeah, yeah. I know a guy in the Discord who has access to some sailboats. We'll get on a sailboat and we'll
Okay.
go down to. I don't know if you're supposed to take a sailboat that far, but I don't know. We'll find out.
Where's your
Um,
sense of adventure,
I, I,
Pirate Dylan?
yeah, exactly. Like who cares about the rules? This is pirate business.
Safety.
Yeah, no, don't gotta worry about that. Oh yeah, it's also in the middle of hurricane season, but that's all right.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think between the two of us, maybe we'll share one, but I think we gotta spend the 35 bucks, and even just if we just do it as part of a special thinking and tech thing, I think this could be a fun thing. Like, I think I'm not bad at riddles. Between the two of us, I think we can figure it out.
So, I was evaluating old games that might be portable to
Hmm.
the Apple IIgs, because my emulator is getting closer to being like done, at least a version 1.0. I don't think
Hmm.
it'll ever be done, but uh, I'm getting some of the bugs knocked knocked out and getting some of the user interface polished on. And I'm like, well, my original goal with starting this emulator project was to have a nice development environment to actually write some Apple II programs
To
on.
make some new stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So here a year and a half later, I finally get around to do that. And I was thinking about, things like Mist was originally released in the early 90s, uh,
Hmm.
93 maybe. And it was actually built on, the first edition was on the Mac, and it was built on top of an educational tool called HyperCard,
Okay.
which
Interesting.
was before the World Wide Web. HyperCard was basically, you could author pages of content that could include multimedia. So you could have pictures and sound and like recorded audio and video. You could easily embed video in there. They had school kids creating these multimedia stacks. And then hyperlinks, right? So you could have things that linked to other, they call it cards in the stack. So it was basically the same architecture as the World Wide Web before
Just
the web
not
happened.
online. That seems to be
Not
like the main
online.
thing. Yeah.
Not online,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, Mist was built on that. So if you think about how you play Mist, it's like here's stuff, there might be things, slightly animated, there's audio going on in the background. You click a thing, and it's like going to the next page, right?
Okay.
So it was built just on that architecture. So I was thinking that might be a reasonable um, project to do. There was actually a version of HyperCard for the Apple IIgs. They were both from Apple,
Hmm.
uh, and but getting into it, it was um, remembering my playing it. The thing I really loved about it was that it was all intellectual. Like it was all uh, puzzles and riddles and challenges you had to solve. Right?
Yeah. That was before you could just look up the answer online, right? You actually had to kind of grind
Yeah,
out, find the answers.
that's right. No, there really wasn't. Maybe somebody came out with a book.
Or a magazine, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in those days, but it was that's the kind of thing I like. Lots of people like shoot 'em ups. Nothing wrong with shoot 'em ups. I engage in that sometimes as well, but I really like puzzles, and so this really speaks to me as, you know, wow, solve puzzles and do it better than anybody else, and maybe
Yeah.
win a
Do
half
it
million
first.
bucks. And from a business perspective, this is brilliant, right? Like
Yeah, it's great. Like we're talking about it right now. That's awesome
it's
marketing.
like a sweepstakes, right?
Yeah.
You
But it's
you
like you
buy
gotta
into
actually
it
do
for a
something. Like
chance.
you're not. Yeah, it's not just you're not just spinning a wheel, putting your ticket, on a drawing thing. Like you gotta actually
Hmm.
work for it. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it, but I bet someone's just gonna throw that in AI the minute it's released and have the answer and find it.
That would be
Um,
sad.
I know, yeah. I guess that's a little bit of the modern AI world we live in. I wonder how they're gonna counteract that, or if there it's just an honor system.
Huh.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I don't
just
know how
I
they
just
could
popped. I was like,
prevent
how are you
people.
gonna? That popped up in my head. I was like, that's kind of a bummer, actually. That kind of ruins it. But
No.
yeah. I wonder if they thought about that. Someone's
This
gonna
has
be
probably
watching
been in the
this.
works for a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And no one wanted to be that guy in like the boardroom. I was like, hey, wait, what about AI? They just didn't want to ruin it, so they just kept on going. Well, I'm gonna
Huh.
try my best to solve it without
Yes.
AI. Yes, and
Yes.
everyone else should too. Keep it fun.
Yeah, don't cheat.
Okay. Alrighty. And yeah, so that'd be interesting to see what happens with that contest. I really hope to see a YouTube vlogger person, pulling up their boat on some Caribbean island and taking a shovel and start to dig. And I hope they hit a chest. I want to see them pull up the empty chests, and then they can call Mr. Ubisoft and say, "I found the chest. Please trade me for the real chest."
Yeah, no Al Capone's vault here, Ubisoft.
Alrighty. Yeah, so we'll start going to the outro part of the show. That we know every week we like to talk about some tech recommendations that either we might have to give to others, or if we have recommendations to ask from our viewers, we might do that as well. Unfortunately, I didn't see any recommendations come in about speakers for you last week, which I thought was surprising. Especially because our last episode got a little bit higher up in the views than it normally did, but apparently it didn't catch the algorithm waves of the speaker heads. So I'll say it again just because we didn't get any recommendations last week. But if anyone has recommendation for speakers for Baz, let them know. Unless you found
I
some already.
No, I need
Nope.
it. I need it. The speakers I have now are sad.
The man has sad speakers. Please tell him which speakers to buy. Don't let him listen to poor audio quality.
Uh, yeah.
Alrighty. So for my recommendation to give today, I'm a retro gamer. Obviously, you can see the games behind me. I normally, I was resistant. If you buy a Nintendo Switch now, which like the newest Nintendo, or that's actually the Switch 2 now, but if you have a Switch and you have their membership program, you can play a ton of the old classic games on their emulator for very cheap. I was resistant to doing this for a while just because I thought it took away from the experience. I like
Hmm.
having it on like a tube TV on the original hardware, on the real games you're playing. I feel like with the emulators, even now, like even with the Switch one, it doesn't feel quite right. It's not the same controller. I feel like there's a little bit of lag still. Like it doesn't feel as tight and as precise. You know, I I was resistant for a while to playing the emulator versions, but to like play the actual original versions, you either always need something set up on a TV, or you need to plug it in whenever you want to use it and hunt down all the cables and hunt down the controllers for it. And if it needs any maintenance, you have to either maintain the console or the game, clean it up, and get it working. And you spend all that time, and then it's 2:30 in the morning, and you're like, well, damn, I need to go to sleep. I just spent all this time getting it set up, and I don't have any time to play it now. With the Switch, it is very nice just to be able to click one button, click on the console you want to play, and just bring up the game. So I've given it a little bit to playing retro games that way, just because before then it was like it's either play some on the emulator or just I wasn't playing any at all. So I've been playing Mario 3 for the last week, and I have been enjoying it a lot. And also, very dependable saving station with these old games. They have like those like watch batteries in it that go bad, so you can say they would save your game, but those watch batteries just go bad anytime. You have to open it up and replace it, and even then,
Hmm.
sometimes they just lose save data, and you play a game for a week and then all your save data's gone. You just don't want to go back to it. Here, on the Switch, you save it. The save file is going to be there. And actually, it lets you save at any point. That was like an old emulator thing where they call them save states.
Hmm.
In the old games, you'd have to like save in certain areas. But on the
Right.
Switch, Nintendo was like, we'll just give them the same abilities they have if they emulate the game on their computer, so you can save it
Okay.
anywhere. You can
Right.
reverse. Is like if you die, you can quickly reverse it, which is kind of cheating. But we only have so much time to play a game. You kind of just don't want to play the same level a
Yeah.
hundred times. So yeah, I've given it a little bit, and I've been enjoying retro gaming on the Switch emulator, and I recommend it to others who might have been any purists that was hesitant to do it. You can still have a mix of both.
Cool. And so that's like a website you just go to and
Nope, that's on the console. That's on the
oh,
Nintendo
okay.
Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2. They both have it, and it's just an app you download from the store.
Okay, it's an app
Um,
for the Switch.
App for the Switch. Yep, and it's the Nintendo has like their if you pay for their I forgot what it's called, but just like My Nintendo, wherever it's like $10 a month. But all the games come with like free 3 month trials. So if you buy games anyway, you can just stack up the trials and just have it for free. And, it just gives you a library of all the classic Mario, Zeldas, whatever, the classic Nintendo games, and you pick which one you want to play.
Okay. Cool. So is it like a streaming model where you can kind of play any of the games anytime, or you have to buy
Yeah,
them too? Oh,
yep,
okay.
it's a stream model, so it's like yeah, it's almost like a retro Netflix for Nintendo kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep, yep, that's what I recommend for this week. Do you have anything to recommend? Anything you've been using lately? You want to share?
That sounds good. No.
Okay, no, that'll be my recommendation to you.
Yeah, no, I might. I missed all that because I went from like I got out of college in 91 and then I
Yeah,
went to work and I
yep.
didn't really have that much time to play games anymore. And I did that for 30 years. So here I am now going back and discovering, getting a chance to discover all this
You have a
stuff.
whole big catalog of classic games,
Oh, I know.
for you to discover.
Um,
And it's also
mhm.
cheaper because retro gaming is, it's it's it has its crowd and it's popular. Some of these games are like getting 30, 40 years old, and um, as the demand increases, the supply decreases. So it's almost a fun way. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to note, I remember some of these games like the original Atari cartridges, and games even into the 80s and 90s were like
Mhm.
30, 40, $50, sometimes more.
Yeah, depending
And
on the game. Yeah.
and that was a lot of money in
Oh, when they
1980.
first came out. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the prices came down in effect over time because so many more people were playing. They could
Hmm.
bring the prices down. But some of these, like old Apple II games were like $40, and that was a lot of money. And in today's money, that's like $150.
Yeah.
Uh,
People say gaming's expensive now, but with inflation, it's actually sometimes a little cheaper.
yeah,
You can look at, I see some of those old newspaper like ads for Super Nintendo games. I see like Super Metroid like $80. I'm like, if that was $80 back then, that's like, how much is that worth now? Yeah, it's like,
yeah, a lot.
but it's interesting because those games haven't lost their value, at least for the good ones. Because Super Metroid now is, if you want the original, like a real copy of the game, it's gonna be like $120 or so.
Wow.
So yeah, some of them have kept their value, if not increased it from 30
So
years ago.
so if I go hit up the estate sales,
It's
I
a good place
might
to find them.
find some gems. Yeah.
Goodwill's done. Goodwill used to be the place 12 years ago. I found a ton of amazing games from Goodwill, $3, $4. I just saw somewhere. This might have been a dream last night, but I'm pretty sure I really saw it. There's opening up retro gaming Goodwills now in certain cities. It's good, and it's like they used to not know what they got, and also it wasn't as big of a thing 10,
Right.
12, 15 years ago. Now they tell the Goodwill employees like check eBay, check the pricing websites. So you see anything on Goodwill, it's like they have a game, they're asking for $50 for it. I'm like, that no, this is Goodwill. I'm not paying for that. Might
Right.
as well
Right.
just buy on eBay. But
Well,
estate
someone's paying
sales,
for it, which is why they are asking 50, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. But it
Yeah.
used to be I used to be able to go in Goodwill and just find amazing games, like a whole someone's like whole collection, and they want $2 for each game, and even at that time they were worth like at least $30 each. So times have changed in that way a little bit, but you did say estate sale, and those are still good spots because a lot of times you can see pictures of what they're selling online, or they're not
Hmm.
selling them online, but they'll put pictures online of the estate
Yeah.
sale, and it's stuff that's just been sitting in someone's house for 40 years that hasn't been touched. And the estate sale people currently they don't know what the values of that stuff is, and like I guess I'm trying estate sale. I guess they will sell things individually, but I feel like they still don't know the values of video game stuff. Knock on
Yeah.
wood, in 5 years they will, I'm sure.
It really, I think those venues are really about, um, getting through the stuff absolutely as fast as possible. You just got to
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Right. So they may auction certain high value items online, but generally you just have to go, and anything that they don't sell goes to the dump.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got the this day in tech history. We'll do that. So this episode will go live tomorrow, which that day will be May 18th. And May 18th in tech history, we'll go back to 1998, which was when the trial for United States versus Microsoft Corporation began. So yeah, that was when like 20 state attorney generals and United States government said, "Hey, Microsoft, you including Internet Explorer with Windows, not cool. We're gonna call that a monopoly and sue you and say you can't do that." So yeah, that was I was too young to kind of know what was going on back then, but I even just like growing up, that's something I heard about a lot. How like Microsoft had to fight the government and get sued by the government because either they include what's it called, in Explorer with Windows, or even I think their antivirus stuff that was built in. I think that was another one they got sued for, if I'm correct.
I think that was a separate similar
I
thing
think
that
that was
came a
late
few
a
years
separate one,
later.
but that's one I heard
Yeah.
about also. Just like being they sued and everything, and that seems that feels like very small now. Giving an operating, or no,
Well,
I'm sorry.
right.
Yeah,
Well, and of course, Windows has um, a web browser built into it, and they still are constantly trying to get you to use it, every time you turn around. I think ultimately the net effect of that was minimal, and in my view, a big waste of time and money on the part of the government.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
it didn't. Uh, I mean, look at what happened, right? So, Chrome is a free web browser that now like 95% of people use. In one, whether it's called Chrome or Safari, which uses the same engine, or
Hmm.
Edge, which uses the same engine.
Yeah, which is the evolution of
Yeah.
uh, Internet Explorer is Edge, and now it uses the engine of another internet browser, which that Google either didn't existed or is very very early on when this trial happened
Google didn't exist yet.
in '98. Yeah, right, right. So
Maybe they had just gotten started,
they
90,
might have been in a
99, something like
garage
that.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember maybe in this era still using like Alta Vista.
Hmm.
Yahoo was long in the past, and then there was Alta Vista, which was the first sort of really good search engine. Beyond that, and then Google happened. It's like I'm never going to use anything else.
Yeah. So I feel like for this it's a good example of how like if something, even if something like at least in tech feels like a monopoly at the time, there's
Hmm.
probably someone in a garage somewhere who's about to release the thing that's going to eat their lunch, even if
Yeah,
you like don't go anywhere near it.
yeah, and Chrome was just a vastly superior product. I mean, Internet Explorer had a monopoly or 70-80% market share for some years, but now it doesn't. And that's because it was, pardon my expression, it was crap. It
Yeah.
was horrible software.
Oh
Everybody
yeah.
hated it. All it took was for somebody to come along with Bird Dog Food, and it didn't matter that it was bundled in. It didn't prevent, the
Yep.
competition. And actually, it was Firefox for a while was
Yep. Which
got
I
significant
still use
market share.
Firefox. I'm like the 2% who still uses Firefox.
Right.
But I like I said I was too young to remember when this was a thing. But I am old enough to remember being angry at using Internet Explorer and how bad it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, even I understand that.
So, the lawyers got rich on it on both
Yeah,
sides. It didn't
and
hurt Microsoft in the end.
yeah, I
They're
didn't
still
write
the
down
fourth
what the
most
verdict.
valuable company.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't write down what the verdict was or what if Microsoft had to do anything. I'm assuming they had to stop pre-installing Internet Explorer, maybe, or like
It,
they had
it,
to
it
make.
was always installed. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Hmm.
It ended up being the remedies were pretty minimal, right? Like they lost, and everyone's like, "What's going to happen?" And
Yeah.
then at the end of the day, I think the judge was like, "Okay, you don't have to do much."
Yeah, because just like doing a little research on this, it seemed like they were talking about how they thought they might have to like split Microsoft up or something.
Yeah,
Some things actually, yeah, things go around circles. I feel like this was a thing about Google and Chrome just 2 years ago or so, and they
yeah,
said how they
right,
have to
yeah.
split Chrome up, but I get nothing came from that.
No, that was also a slap on the wrist. I,
Yeah,
I, I hope that ultimately, that if I'm a new entrant, that's how I want to compete. I want to gain share because I'm good, not because I got some gift from the government throwing its weight around.
right. Yep. Well, alrighty. So that's the show. Thank you so much for listening to the Thinking in Tech podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please follow us on your podcast service of choice, or if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And like we said in the beginning of the episode, if you're still here listening, if you haven't hit the like button yet, it just takes a second to do, and it helps us out a ton. So we appreciate that. Um, Yep, and if you're someone who might be interested in appearing on the show, if you have something cool to show off or something you want to talk about, feel free to email us at the thinkingintechpod@gmail.com. It's actually not the Thinking in Tech. The address is thinkingintechpod@gmail.com. Feel free to email us, and I would love to have you on the show. And yep, the views expressed in this podcast are completely of our own and do not reflect or represent the views of any past, current, or future employers. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for watching.
All the
Hey,
bad stuff you heard was just for me.
that's our own opinion. Yeah, don't hold us. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you around next time.